The Late Show with Stephen Colbert turned into a jaw-dropping circus last night when behind Tesla and SpaceX broke down in tears during a fiery confrontation. What was supposed to be a blockbuster interview about Musk's latest venture spiraled into one of the most shocking meltdowns ever broadcast, leaving millions stunned. Colbert's relentless jabs pushed the tech titan to the edge, with the host opening the interview with a stinging barb. "Elon, are you here to save the world or just your ego?" Musk's smile flickered as he fired back, "I'm here to talk progress, Stephen, not play your game," but the tension only escalated from there. The audience felt the shift immediately, with some chuckling at Colbert's sharp wit while others tensed at Musk's defensive tone. Colbert rolled a clip of Musk's recent X rant where he boasted about outsmarting regulators, then smirked, "Is it genius or just noise from a guy who's losing it?" Musk's voice tightened as he retorted, "I'm not losing anything, Stephen. I'm winning where you can't even play." The crowd split, some cheering Musk's defiance, others laughing at Colbert's digs, while producers sensed trouble brewing behind the scenes. The confrontation quickly turned personal as Musk refused to be the punchline, leaning in and calling Colbert a clown with a mic. Colbert pounced, firing back, "A clown? I'm not the one crying over stock dips, Elon," a clear dig at Tesla's rocky year. The room buzzed with gasps and shouts as Musk's jaw clenched, his cool demeanor cracking under the host's relentless pressure. Insiders noted Colbert's grin widening, he smelled blood, and the stage was set for a meltdown that would unfold in minutes. Colbert doubled down, turning the interview into a full-blown battlefield. He mocked Musk's empire, flashing clips of Tesla recalls and SpaceX explosions, asking, "Is this your idea of winning?" Musk's face tightened as he shot back, "Those are setbacks, Stephen. You wouldn't understand risk, you're safe behind that desk." But Colbert didn't let up, jabbing, "Risk or reckless? Your shareholders might call it a flop." The audience erupted, some cheering, others booing, as the tension reached a boiling point. The host then pivoted to Musk's personal life, asking, "Let's talk Twitter, your big buy. Chaos follows you. Is it vision or just a rich guy's tantrum?" Musk's eyes flashed as his voice rose, "I saved free speech, Stephen. You're the tantrum, crying when I don't fit your box." The crowd roared, split between chants of "Elon" and jeers, while producers whispered into headsets, sensing the segment slipping out of control. Colbert grinned, sensing victory. Musk's unraveling became undeniable as his hands clenched and his voice cracked. "You don't know me, Stephen. You're nothing next to what I've built," he shouted, but Colbert fired back, "Nothing. I'm not the one sweating, Elon. Your empire's crumbling, look at you." The audience erupted, some standing, others filming, as Musk snapped, "You're a hack. I'll bury you." Colbert laughed, "Bury me? You're the one sinking, pal." The exchange turned the studio electric. Producers signaled for a break, but Musk shouted over them, "I'm not done. You don't shut me up." His defiance crumbled into raw rage as the audience fed the chaos, some yelling support, others taunting. Social media exploded with clips of Musk's outburst trending, "He's losing it," one post read. Colbert's grin never faded. He knew he had Musk on the ropes, and the real collapse was seconds away. The climax was brutal. Colbert, cold and cutting, said, "Your rockets crash, your cars stall, your tears are next," as a mock graphic of Tesla's plunging stock flashed. Musk's voice trembled, "I've built more than you'll ever dream." Colbert struck back, "Dreams? Nightmares, pal. You're a billionaire baby crying when it gets tough." Musk, now shaking, retorted, "I'm tough. I've faced worse. You're a joke, a nobody." But his glistening eyes betrayed him. Colbert pounced, "Nobody. I'm not the one cracking, Elon. Look at you, waterworks incoming." The crowd chanted, "Cry, cry," as Musk's voice broke, "You don't get it. I'm changing the world." Tears rolled down his face, and the room gasped. Musk swiped at his eyes, denying it, "I'm not crying. It's you, you're nothing," but the damage was done. Colbert leaned in, "Nothing. You're sobbing, Elon. The world's seeing it, genius undone." The meltdown peaked as Musk roared, "Shut up. I'll ruin you." His fists pounded the desk, but the tears kept coming. The crowd was in uproar, some filming, others shouting, while X lit up with posts like, "Colbert broke him." Musk stood, wobbling, and ripped off his mic, tossing it with a thud. Colbert laughed, "Trash, you're the mess, Elon. Run home." The audience surged, some rushing the stage, as security hovered, unsure whether to intervene. Musk's exit was chaotic. "I don't need this. You're trash," he muttered, storming off as Colbert waved mockingly, "Bye-bye, Elon." Don't trip on your ego. The crowd chanted, crybaby, crybaby, while others yelled, don't go. Producers debated cutting the feed, but the meltdown was too viral to stop. Musk's team rushed him backstage, where he reportedly raged, they'll pay for this, but the humiliation was already global. The aftermath was immediate. Musk tweeted, truth wins, not tears, but replies flooded in, you cried, Elon. Memes of his tear-streaked face spread like wildfire, captioned, Tesla tears. Supporters defended him, he's human, but the narrative had shifted. Colbert's next show opened with a smirk, we had a guest. He brought tears, I brought the heat. Ratings spiked 60%, cementing his victory. Analysts dissected the clash, calling it a cultural reset. Colbert played him like a fiddle, one said, while others predicted a PR nightmare for Musk. Tesla's stock wobbled, and SpaceX chatter spiked. Meanwhile, Colbert's team reveled in the win, planning to milk the moment. Musk thought he'd win. I broke him, Colbert reportedly boasted. The internet remained split, was it fair or too far? Late-night TV itself was shaken. Networks debated whether to emulate Colbert's boldness or fear similar meltdowns. Viewers were divided. Half cheered Colbert for crushing a titan, half cringed at the brutality. The clash became a defining moment, with Musk's invincibility shattered and Colbert's legend growing. The fallout was far from over, Musk's next move and Colbert's encore were already brewing. Behind the scenes, Musk's team scrambled to control the damage. Advisors urged him to lay low, but his pride was wounded. Rumors swirled of a counterattack, maybe a rival show appearance or a fiery tweet storm. Meanwhile, Colbert's writers brainstormed follow-up jokes, knowing the world would be watching. The battle lines were drawn, and the war of words was far from finished. Social media continued to dissect every second. Clips of Musk's tears were remixed into memes, while think pieces debated whether Colbert crossed a line. He exposed Musk's fragility, one op-ed read. Another argued, it was bullying masked as comedy. The public's appetite for the drama was insatiable, with hashtags like #MuskMeltdown and #ColbertTwins trending for hours. Musk's supporters launched a counter-narrative, framing him as a visionary under attack. They fear his genius, one fan tweeted. But critics piled on, geniuses don't sob on live TV. Even fellow CEOs weighed in, some praising Colbert, others calling it a cheap shot. The divide mirrored the broader cultural split, between those who saw Musk as a hero and those who saw him as a narcissist. Colbert, meanwhile, basked in the afterglow. His monologue the next night was packed with Musk-related zingers, drawing roaring applause. Some guys rocket to the top, he quipped. Others cry their way out the door. The audience ate it up, and ratings soared higher. Networks took note. Conflict sells, and Colbert had just rewritten the late-night playbook. Musk's camp remained silent, but insiders hinted at fury. He's plotting something big, one source claimed. Speculation ranged from a lawsuit unlikely to a surprise media blitz. Others suggested he'd retreat entirely, focusing on his companies. But Musk wasn't one to back down, and the world waited for his next move. The business fallout was real. Tesla's stock dipped briefly, though it stabilized quickly. SpaceX's PR team worked overtime to shift focus back to its missions. Meanwhile, X, formerly Twitter, saw a spike in traffic, both from supporters and trolls. Analysts wondered if the meltdown would hurt Musk's brands long-term or if his base would rally harder. Colbert's team, meanwhile, capitalized on the moment. Promos for upcoming shows teased, more unfiltered chaos, and advertisers clamored for spots. The host's reputation as a fearless interviewer was cemented, and competitors scrambled to keep up. The late-night landscape had changed overnight. Psychologists weighed in on Musk's tears, debating whether it was stress, ego, or a calculated play for sympathy. Even billionaires crack, one noted. Others speculated about burnout, given Musk's relentless workload. Regardless, the image of the world's richest man sobbing on TV was indelible. Comedians, predictably, had a field day. SNL sketches were already in the works, and podcasts dissected the clash endlessly. Colbert versus Musk became shorthand for any lopsided showdown, and the phrases, "you're a clown with a mic," and "run home, Elon," entered the cultural lexicon. Musk's rivals, long silent, seized the moment. Rival CEOs made subtle digs in interviews, while tech critics penned, "I told you so" pieces. The narrative of Musk as an unstable genius gained traction, and some investors nervously reevaluated their stakes in his companies. Colbert, ever the strategist, avoided gloating too overtly. It was just a conversation, he demurred in post-show interviews, but his smirk said otherwise. His team knew the balance, playing the humble winner while quietly reveling in the victory. The clash also reignited debates about late-night TV's role. Was Colbert a journalist holding power to account or a bully punching down? He asked tough questions, supporters argued. Critics countered, he baited him for ratings. The line between comedy and accountability had never been blurrier. Musk's tearful exit became a symbol of hubris, of pressure, of the perils of live TV. Documentaries and podcasts would revisit it for years, analyzing every frame. For Colbert, it was a career-defining moment. For Musk, a humbling scar. The internet's obsession showed no signs of slowing. Deepfakes of Musk crying in absurd scenarios went viral, while think pieces pondered the death of the untouchable billionaire. The public's hunger for schadenfreude was fed, but the deeper implications lingered. Colbert's writers joked privately that Musk was the gift that kept on giving. Future monologues would mine this for weeks, if not months. The host had stumbled into the perfect storm, ratings gold and cultural relevance. Musk, meanwhile, faced a choice: address it head-on or ignore it and move on. His pride suggested the former, but his advisors likely pushed for the latter. The world watched, waiting for the next chapter in this surreal saga. Late-night TV had its first true watercooler moment in years. The days of scripted, safe interviews were over. Viewers now craved raw, unfiltered conflict. Colbert had set a new standard, and competitors would either follow or fade. The clash also highlighted the power of live TV in the streaming age. Unlike pre-taped segments, this was unedited, unpredictable, and unforgettable. Networks took note, greenlighting more live, high-risk interviews. Musk's legacy, once untouchable, now had a crack. Whether it healed or widened depended on his next moves. Colbert, meanwhile, solidified his place as late night's king, a title he'd defend fiercely. The internet's verdict was split but decisive in one way: this moment would outlast both men. Memes, dissertations, and documentaries would ensure it. The Late Show's stage had hosted many battles, but none like this. As the dust settled, one thing was clear: the rules of engagement had changed. Billionaires weren't untouchable, comedians weren't just clowns, and live TV was back with a vengeance. The world would be watching for the next round, the next meltdown, the next unforgettable clash.